Hello, everyone, and welcome to PAX Area Gaming. My name is Reg, and we are continuing our journey through Black Myth Wukong with the start of Chapter 5. Very different area than the area we were just in. It's more of a desolate, burned out, ashen-covered area, almost volcanic. And as with each chapter, we have an interesting entry. This chapter is one of the shorter chapters in the game. There are a lot of different areas to cover, but none of them are very long. A couple of them require some skill, but like I said, they're not very long.
老朱当年总督天河，掌管8万水兵大众，这些个阴兵鬼卒也敢拦路。若不是靠我神庙变化，你今日准交代在这儿了。给叔叔磕个响头，不过分吧
？As always, so Bajie is going to sort of fly off and leave me to my own devices.
吃过一回亏，再无第二回。这等撒煞倒虚之徒，不足为惧。我先过去探个实信。 你小子速速跟上！
From a navigation standpoint, this is also one of the easier chapters to navigate. There is very little verticality. I mean, you're in the mountains, so I guess there is some verticality, but not like the hollows. It's fairly linear, not a lot of branching paths. There's one little area where I got a little lost. I'll let you guys know when I get to that area. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. And it's fairly generous in terms of shrines. You see sort of fire off to the right. Fireproof mantle would likely be the vessel you should be using in this chapter of the game. There's not much in this sort of foyer area of the actual chapter. Grab a wisp, kill that one guy. There should be another guy shooting arrows at you. Yeah, here he is. And then when you enter, you go through that little cave tunnel, you'll be in the chapter proper. You can hear some commotion going on in the background. That's because there's a battle going on that you're about to enter into. Yeah, throughout the whole fight, you're going to be dealing with fire bombs being tossed at you. And you can't get to who's tossing the fire bombs at this point, so you really just have to avoid them. And if you're using fireproof mantle, it won't do any damage to you. Which, as you can see, I was not. A lot going on in this little entrance. Different enemies swinging at you. You got fire bombs falling on you. Totally with that. I don't know what would have happened if I would have just hung out at the opening and watched these guys fight each other. Because it was really just one guy fighting everybody else. But it doesn't look like that when you walk in. And that NPC will actually fight you as well because he doesn't recognize you yet. This guy. So he's actually a friendly character, who's obviously, since you just meet him, is going to send you on a quest.
刚刚与那些阴兵正打杀着，不知为何昏了神。无奈牛魔王麾下先锋，还好未伤你性命。
His quest allows you to access the secret area of Chapter 5.
你的事我早有耳闻。
I think you can actually complete Chapter 5 without doing this quest.
如今山里生了妖孽，不知哪里冒出这些
I'm
个
not
阴兵。
sure. I'm not sure.
上山的关隘也被几辆棺材车拦住，冒着邪火烧老子。我想你有些溜撒，寻个法儿，把他们都拆了，如何？ 棺材车又叫五行车，是大王的孩儿炼化出来的异物，厉害的很。
Explaining what's going on and letting you know that there are cart enemies that you have to. That I guess you don't have to, but he wants you to
我觉得其中另有蹊跷。
And they're not that difficult. I mean, as you traverse the area, you're going to come across them.
没了我可不行了。
They're not difficult to defeat at all. One of them is, but the other ones are not.
棺材车又叫五行车，是大王的孩儿炼化出来的异物。
It's just that sometimes they're located in a area or a space where you're getting sort of fired upon while you're trying to run towards the guy. So you should grab these chests too, since the enemies are gone, and you have a little bit of respite from the fire bombs. There are several other mini bosses in this chapter as well. Actually, there's quite a few mini bosses in this chapter. Still a short chapter. So we may as well grab anything that we see. There are going to be a number of chests. Not a lot. This is a fairly desolate area, so it's not like it's overwhelmingly full of stuff. Most of it you could spot. So that NPC that you just spoke to, we just spoke to, is going to be moving to a different location. Still in the same area, but he won't be, if you come back and you look for him because he basically give you a task and you have to report back to him, he won't be standing exactly where you leave him. He's going to move to and sort of an overlook area. And he'll stay there until you get to the end, near the end of his quest. Okay, the way forward is up these stairs or steps. And the first of those cart bosses is right there. And I found it easier to just run up and get on the side of him instead of running straight towards him, which you could have done. And I believe he might be the weakest of the cart bosses. There may be another one that's probably not any stronger than him, and then there's one that's tougher, and then the last one you fight will be tough. But this one is not going to, you know, the key is to stay on the side so you can't hit you with his arms. And then if he creates fire, you won't take any damage, even if you're not using the fireproof mantle, which you absolutely should be using. So you basically just level down his health. If you want to, you can immobilize him and get some free damage in. If you have the Wandering Light and immobilize him and then hit button, that will get massive damage in. Have it, and of course he was blocking the next shrine. The first shrine that we came to in this chapter was the Ashen Pass one. This shrine is the Camp of Seasons. And the only reason you come back to this shrine after you progress is so you can go back and meet this guy who's now at the overlook. I cut out the run back, and so you guys want me to run back all the way back to this guy. So after each cart boss, you should give him an update. You don't get any rewards. You're just updating him, and his dialogue changes slightly. Okay, so after you speak to him, you just go back to where you were and continue to progress. Across this bridge, you got one little idiot shooting at you. It was a pretty easy kill. And then you go through this little tunnel, but there are some enemies in here as well. New enemy type. Actually, a couple of enemy types in this part of the game. Yeah. I'm still whiffing, even in Chapter 5. These guys will explode, so when you damage them enough, you might want to back off. If you're standing next to another enemy, they will cause damage to whoever's standing closest to them. So you have two more of the little ones, and then you have the bigger guy. And the bigger guy, he doesn't explode, but he takes those weird swings when you kill him. So you stay out of his way. Reminiscent of the enemies in Chapter 3. The snowy area. So if you one-shot kill those guys, they won't explode, but if you kill them with multiple hits, they will explode. I think that's the way that works. And there are these hanging bat-type creatures, not like the ones in the Pagoda realm. The little short, heavy ones. These are a little bit tall and a little bit more agile. When you get close to them, they will drop down and fly at you. Not sure they're any stronger than the ones, the other type in Pagoda realm. So I don't think they're much to worry about. This leads to another bridge, and you'll see that enemy off to the left, and there are a few enemies off to the right. The one off to the left is probably the strongest of the ones in this area. So you want to take this guy out. You can take out the little guys pretty easily. And we're gonna, so we have the guy hanging in the tree, and then we have the path off to the right. We're gonna take the path off to the right. Take this guy up. There's another guy across the way who's going to be shooting arrows at us, but we can't really get to him, so we're not gonna worry about him. I'm not gonna worry about the hanging guy yet, because we have to come back that way. So I'm gonna grab that item. And we're gonna go up here and grab the meditation point. Have a nice little peaceful moment before we continue absolutely murdering anyone we see. So we can go, let's see when they turn around. We can run along the cliffs, actually. No, I guess we take this annoying flying guy out. And you want to be careful because he can knock you off of that cliff. There's the annoying guy shooting at you. You can't knock him off the cliff, but he can definitely knock you off. Unfortunately, he doesn't explode. So we're gonna Yeah, we're gonna do this little ridge. Actually, two parts of this little ridge. You can go cliffside, and then you can go sort of up the steps. And we're gonna need to do both. Let's go this way. That's not really what I wanted to do. Because that was too far away. Yeah, when you, there's a relic that you get when you sort of use that particular relic. When you use Immobilize, it'll also immobilize the closest enemies to your target. It's the first time I've seen it active, even though I think I've had it active. No, I guess I only activated it at the start of this chapter. Okay, so that was all we needed to do along the ridge. So now we're going to go back. And then we're going to go up these steps. Same enemy types. If I were smart, I would hit the little ones and let the big one run towards the little ones and let them explode. Okay, the little ones also spit fire. Okay, so the little one exploded and caused the big one to die, which is good. We can grab this item, which is the reason we came up here. And then we have a bridge that will lead to the next shrine. Yeah. My judgment is off in terms of distance to some of these enemies today. So we have one hanging guy, and we have the arrow guy, and then two of the little exploding guys. None of them are very difficult enemies, so. But that the flying one is the most annoying one, so it's just better to take that guy out first. And then these little guys, you know, they're not difficult. There are three though. Alright, so you can use the thrust dance, stay far away. I think a refocus thrust should kill them. Yeah, then they won't explode. Making sure I'm not missing any chests in the area. And then we're going to continue traversing up. And you can see the shrine icon right there, which means there's likely to be some enemy protecting it. It's a good idea to jump on this guy. Let's make a mistake to take a picture of him, but wasn't trying to. We got this flying guy. Okay. We're continuing, after activating the shrine, we're going to continue up. This should be the height of Ember. Again, you notice these areas aren't very, very long. But in this area, there is a mini boss. And the first time I fought him, I thought he was carrying a baby in his arms. It's not a baby, it's his wife. It's a little sad story. Very easy boss. Definitely the easiest of the mini bosses, other than the first cart that we fought. Now, we are going to go through that door to the right that he climbed over, but we're not going to do that yet. That way is the way to progress the chapter. But before we do that door, we can open the door, but we're not gonna. Okay, not open the door. We're gonna go down this side of the this ridge, scope out the area and grab what we can grab, and then when we come back, we'll go through that door. But let's do this first. There are a couple of enemies, a few chests. This enemy is actually not a new enemy type. There was one of these enemies in chapter 3. I don't think I fought him in this playthrough. But there are a couple of them in this chapter. There's only one in chapter 3. And none in chapter 4. They seem to be randomly sort of spaced. There are a couple of them in chapter 5. So you can grab what he was protecting in the chest. That's the only thing up here. We can take care of the enemies in this area. Same enemy types. Well, we've had these mushroom guys before. And then we have a couple of, I guess they're bull enemies. There are quite a few of those guys in this chapter. I guess paying homage to the Bull King, who is the ruler of this chapter. Yeah, I was trying to get out of the way of the explosion that I knew was coming. All right, you're gonna grab this wisp. And that was the guy that was shooting across the way when we were on the other side. Very annoying guy. The explosions, the twin explosions actually killed him. You want to grab this item off the tree, this vine off the tree. It helps you with one of the soaks that you have. Or one of the soaks that you can have. I'm not quite sure you have it, but you can certainly make it. Okay, so this is where that mini boss climbed over the wall. Now we're going to go through to progress the chapter. And we are going to run into another one of the cart bosses in this area. But there's also a cave area that we're going to have to deal with, if I'm remembering correctly. And if you need to, you can always go back to the shrine that's near this to sort of recharge everything. The voice you hear is a character who needs our help. She is the adopted daughter of the Bull King and Rakshasa, the queen of this area. So this little cave is the only confusing part of this chapter. It's because there are multiple exit points and it's dark and you got enemies all around. So you can get turned around in the cave, but once you kill all the enemies, then it's easy to navigate. There's an item that you can get outside of one door. There is the way forward outside of another door. So if you get mixed up, you can just go back through each of the doors and it's easy to sort of figure out which one is the way forward. And one is just a sort of an empty space, a little alcove. So, but in your first playthrough, you're like, okay, which direction should I go in? The only way to really progress, because you can't get too lost, is to go through the correct door. I guess you can go back through the door you came through, which will lead you back out. But if that happens, the cart creature will start firing those fireballs at you. So you'll know you're in the wrong spot. So lots of wisps and things to kill in this cave, and you probably should. I don't think you have to. One of them is a spirit that you would want to absorb. Another wisp. Yeah, what you don't want to do is let yourself get surrounded by those guys. Because they'll shoot fire at you, one might die and explode, and it can sort of overwhelm you. But like I said, if you're using Fireproof Mantle, you should be okay. I mean, unless the big guy kills you. Because he's got the spirit thing, so he's a little bit stronger than those guys. This is me trying to figure out, is this the right door or not? So you take out, if you can get the jump on this guy. Yep, I'm gonna take this guy out. He goes through his little death swings. And this is what you want. You want the item that was in a chest. That's going to be the area that progresses us. So there was nothing else. So we have to be sort of careful here because the cart is down there. And so you want to be strategic in terms of your run through, because you can get sort of caught in the middle and he'll just burn you. But there should be an area off to the left that you can hide in. Right here. So if you use Cloud Step, then you're safe. He's an annoying boss because he's in a very enclosed area. And there's really no way for you to really escape him. So you can't really use thrust stance because you'd have to be standing out in the open and it takes time to generate the focus points. You can use smash, you can charge that and then run and then hit him, then immobilize him. The Pluck of Many, who is also able to immobilize him. So that definitely makes the fight a lot easier. Right, so if you don't use Pluck of Many, or your Pluck of Many doesn't have as many of these guys as I have, it might be a longer fight. But Pluck of Many makes it easier. And also Fireproof Mantle. You can't really get to the side of him to avoid the fire, so you really do have to sort of fight him head on, so you want to take him out as quick as you can. Now this little fox guy hanging here that's been kidnapped by these two weirdos, as I mentioned before, is the Bull King's adopted daughter. Okay, so now you have a boss that's a fire-based boss and one that is a wind-based boss. It's a dual boss fight. There are a couple of them in this chapter, actually. Not the same ones, but dual boss fights. So it's probably easier to just focus on one at a time. Pillar stance is good because you can avoid a lot of the damage that these guys try to do. And if you have a fully maxed out pillar stance, they can't really knock you out of it. And if you land the hit, you do a lot of damage. This guy, the fire guy, is the easiest guy in my estimation to take out first. He's not as mobile, he will roll around, but the flying around guy is such a pain in the neck to track. rolling around guy will come to you, but when you stun him, he stays stunned for a very long time. And once you take him out, then the flying around guy becomes a little bit easier to avoid getting hit by the guy. Yeah, I was trying to get in my force dancing, but it didn't quite work. He's constantly using the wind thing. So if I actually had the wind tamer, that probably would knock him out. But that's just, you have so many fire bosses in the game, it doesn't make sense to go to wind tamer in this chapter of the game. There we go. Just trying to make sure I got the max, and then once you stun him, you can get a lot of damage away. If I hadn't used Immobilize, I could have gotten more damage in. I guess I could use the Apramana Bat, which freezes them for maybe 4 or 5 seconds to get even more damage in. So you can use Immobilize plus the Apramana Bat. But I rarely use that. I think I tried using it in one of the playthroughs. I tried using it against Yellow Log in one of my playthroughs. And I just wasn't patient enough in that fight using that for it to be effective. But there are a couple of endgame bosses that I'll also try it with, where I think it'll be a little bit more effective. She's a fox boy. And again, there's connection to the past. She was adopted by the Bull King after Sun Wukong killed her mother.
好险好险，多谢恩人搭救。我是大力王的女儿，名叫平平。
胡柴，牛魔王何来女儿？哄骗我老朱，讨打！
Actually, not Sun Wukong. Bajie killed her
就是
mother.
被你所杀。母亲死后，我便一直跟着父亲生活。铁扇公主心善，认我做了养女。后来，哥哥
And the
从
more
南
I
海
think
学
about
成
it, this
回
could
来，
be sort of like
我们一家
Souls
团聚，
games, right?
终于过上安
You
宁
can
日子。
connect. You can do a series of
哥哥一
games and
向
connect
孝
them,
顺，
even if they're
对
not
我也
direct
甚是关照。
sequels, because
可
it's
是
such
不
a
知怎
vast
的，
story
不久前，
with
他忽
incredible
然性情
characters.
大变，他悄悄招了火云洞的旧部过来，先是求了父亲，又困住母亲。我实在没有法子了，才跑出来搬救兵。可可的一出山口，就撞进了哥哥的手
I'm just
下。
incredibly curious as to
那
what
牛
game
魔
Science is
王
going to do
神
next,
通无穷，
other than the
我
DLC
跟
for
师
this
兄
game.
2人才斗他不过。铁扇仙更有灵宝护身，怎么到了你这女怪嘴里啊？说求就求了。
谁能料到自己儿子反目成仇？做父母的，谁又真的狠心对亲生孩子
She's
动手？
explaining what's going
我
on.
哄你玩呢。
你们看看这里，若不是哥哥的3昧真火，又怎会落得如此凄惨？不好，
Basically,
父亲
it's
心灵金科急救，
an
最
incredible
后哥
amount
哥
of
务必助
family
我一家
drama.
冻死劫难。
So Dad is the Bull King.
铁
Mom
扇
is Rakshasa.
亲神，这只鹪鹩虫儿
Her brother is Red Boy.
倒是自有用处。哎，这
Red
声
Boy
音
is ticked
耳
off
熟
with the
的
world.
很呐，老朱我去探探便知。
And doesn't apparently like his parents very much, or her for that matter.
来不及了，
Maybe with good reason. Maybe. Okay, now we're supposed to follow her. But before we do, a couple of times when she runs off like that, and the game wants you to follow her, that you actually should not follow her. So why? Because of this. You want to go and pick up the shrine and a meditation point. So I'm not quite sure why it's set up this way, because you could conceivably run after her. You just won't have this particular shrine. So once that's done, you now want to follow her. She's going to lead you to the next area of the game. The next area of this chapter. I love the transitions that they do. You travel through a cave, you sort of come out the other side, and you're in the next area. I love this better than just a black screen. I mean, there are plenty of those in this game, but I like these transitions better. I mean, there are a couple of them in each of the chapters where it's a much more artistic transition. There are not a ton of enemies in this little run that we have to do. And the game wants you to follow her, at least in this part of the game, wants you to follow her. But I know that there is a wisp off to the left. It's just a wisp, so if you don't get it, you're not really missing anything major at this point. Because you will come upon another shrine. I mean, so if you don't need the wisp, you don't really have to do that. And then you can continue following her because there's nothing else in the area. And the way forward is down. So, in an homage to Assassin's Creed, you have to sort of take a leap of faith. Remember, in parts of the game, you can't go over the edge. In other parts of the game, you get knocked over the edge. And in this part of the game, you actually jump over the edge. And so you're in the next area of the game, which will lead eventually to a shrine. It's a short area. There are a couple of enemies that are similar to enemies you faced in Chapter 2. Except these are fire-based instead of, the other ones. I guess the other ones in Chapter 2, I don't know whether it was poison. I don't think it was poison. It was something else. And you can attack them when they're still sleeping. I said in the last chapter, there were some enemies that the mushroom guys you can't attack while they're like that. But the Taoist guys you could, so these you can as well. So if you can lock on it, it means you can attack it. And they're not difficult. If you fully charge, it shouldn't take you more than a fully charge and one other hit to kill it. And this should take us to the Ashen Pass 2. Yeah, there's also another enemy type, these bull enemies with shields. I got lucky because I got behind them and I was able to hit them, but if you are in front of them, the shield actually does a pretty good job of protecting him. So you can use the pillar stance and sort of whittle down the shield before fighting them, but they're pretty strong. Nope, I'm wrong. This is the valley entrance. So we're officially in Furnace Valley. Okay, we want to go back to the Pale Axe guy to let him know that we took out another one of those carts. I got to do that when I took out the cart. But now that we have a shrine that we can go directly back to before we go into the next area, it's a good idea to go back to him and let him know.
他葫芦里卖的什么药？五行车，五行车，那为什么不辆车？你到底拆了几辆啊？哎，罢了，山门看来是守住了，你且先去，我随后就到。老大王曾说。 五行车名为五行，实属五脏，各有不同脾性。老大王曾说，五行车名为五行，实属五脏，各有不同脾性。
Okay, so back at the valley entrance, you will now begin to traverse the valley. And there are more of those little rock enemies that are sleeping. And I'm guessing they really won't wake up unless you try to walk past them. Maybe even if you run past them. I think as long, if you get close to them, they'll activate. If you don't, they'll just continue to be dormant, which makes them easier to kill. And again, in this section of the game, because you're going to be in a lava area, you really should be using the fireproof mantle. And if you have one of the curios that also reduces, that gives you some flame resistance, you should use that as well. Well, for a large part of this area, you'll be running on solid ground. Part of the area you'll be traversing is actually on the lava. So it makes sense to use the fireproof mantle. And this is one of the bull guys with a shield. So if you're in the pillar stance, he can't hurt you. So if you just want to spam that, that's an easy way to get rid of him, because it does damage to him and his shield. And if you've maxed out your stamina, it'll recharge pretty quickly, so you'll be able to do that. As long as you get up at least one focus point, he won't be able to hit you. It's a big metal shield, unlike wooden shields in some games where you can actually break. You can knock it out of his hand, but it's a pain. I don't think I remember him spitting fire out of his mouth. So we're going to work our way down. The way forward is actually through some arches that are going to be off to the right. But before we get to that, there's an area to explore to the left, and an area below this to explore as well. As long as you sort of look up, you'll know where you are. So the voice you hear is our good friend Bajie, who apparently has been captured once again. This poor guy. So we found him in chapter 1. He was tied to a post in chapter 2. I forget where he was in chapter 2. No, that was in chapter 2. He was tied to a post. We found him in chapter 1. In chapter 3, he was at the Thunderclap Temple. And in chapter 4, he was in a cocoon in the Hollows. So here in chapter 5, he's actually in the valley entrance. And he's in a very unfortunate situation. You'll see in a second. These little fireworm creatures all over the place. We're eventually going to meet their mother at some point. So if we go up here, there should be a... That is the way to progress through those arches up there. You're going to go up. There's a chest at the end of this little road, but there are a couple of enemies to deal with. I'm not really worried about the fireworm thing at this point, because this guy is the stronger person to take out. Once you do, then you can go take out the fireworm, because he's annoying. And then you can go back and get the chest and the spirit. So now we're going to work our way back down and clear out the lower area. And there's a mini boss in the lava that we want to fight as well. You can't see him. He won't activate until you actually get down there. This is why you have fireproof mantle, so you won't take any damage on the lava. There is the mini boss. And we'll bring out our gang. Let them do their thing. Absolutely melting his health. have it. Very easy. Not so easy if you're not using if you're not using Pluck of Many. And if they're not maxed out. I mean, the reason they're as effective as they are is because they're fully maxed. And you don't have to fully max them. This is my third playthrough, so they're fully maxed. In the second playthrough, they're not. In the first playthrough, they're definitely not. But because you can always reset your sparks if you wanted to, you could sort of max them for this part of the fight, but I wouldn't recommend that because that means you're taking something away from either survivability or one of your stances, and you don't want to do that. I think I really focused on survivability first, because I'm horrible at these fighting type style games. And then after getting the survivability, at least from a health standpoint and from a stamina standpoint, I don't think I worked on the 4 Bane's resistance until later. But the stamina and the health were probably the most important things for me to deal with. Mainly because early in my first playthrough I was just getting killed by everything, so I wanted to work on those things, and then I started working on the stances. And my favorite stance, you guys probably can tell from how I've been playing, is the smash stance. It's just easier, and there's an armor type that you can use that will allow you to generate more attack power as you run. So if you're trying to build up focus and attack power as you run, that particular armor set will help you do that. I don't know if it's the armor set or whether it's one of the abilities of the stance. I'm not sure now, but it works pretty effectively since I was running around quite a bit. The pillar stance is good in some instances. If there's poison on the ground, then yeah, you want to use a pillar stance. You should definitely have it maxed out, because if you don't, you can get knocked off of the pillar. The thrust stance, if you've already built up focus and an enemy is running toward you, the thrust stance is great because it'll run right into it and you can do a lot of damage. But if you have to stay stable for too long, for me at least, for it to be real effective. So I didn't use it as much. In this playthrough I use it more, but I definitely didn't use it a lot in my first 2 playthroughs. I don't think I used it at all in my first playthrough. I tried it and it just wasn't working. I'd seen people do it and it looked kind of cool. Okay, Matiamba is over there, but we need to take out this guy first. Pretty strong guy. And then we need to take out these fireworms. Grab the wisp after we take out this other one. He said they're all over the place. They don't do a lot of damage, but there's just plenty of them and they're annoying. Okay, so we can grab that. And then we want to... So Bajie Matiamba is trapped inside of one of the carts. Poor guy. Always getting himself in trouble. But this is one he may not be able to get out of. Yeah, you want to be careful pulling that. You don't want to kill him. And at some point, you get to a point where if you do that, you will actually kill him. Make sure you grab the chest while you're over here. We will come back to Matiamba when we can help him. Right now, we can't really do much. So the idea now is to progress our way through the rest of this section. I'm pretty sure there are no more chests. There's some plants, a couple of these guys. It might be a wisp that I didn't get. Yeah. So when we go up and we go through this archway, this is where we fought the spirit guy. We saw the archway, but we dropped down to fight the lava guy. So we wanna, I guess you could technically run past this guy, but I think it's just easy to kill him. Alright, so we're gonna head towards Rakshas's palace. But we have another boss fight. Another dual boss fight. This one's a little bit trickier than the last one. In the last one, you had a guy flying around and a guy rolling around. In this one, you have a guy that actually teleports. So he'll sort of disappear and show up somewhere else, which is pretty annoying while he's shooting these magic bolts at you. And his partner is a guy who's fire-based, who hits pretty hard. Yeah, and that beam will stun lock you. So the goal, at least my goal, was to try to take out this guy first, because he's just so annoying. The other guy, you can sort of dodge if you're good at dodging. You can sort of dodge out of the way of most of his attacks. But this guy, he just does these random things. He'll stun you with that bright light thing. He'll hit you. He'll teleport. The other guy will show up. It's like this tag team effort. You don't know where he's going to show up, but he will show up. There you go. And then he will sort of whack at you, and then the other guy will come back. The smarter move for me would have been to save my immobilization so I can immobilize the mage guy and damage him. He almost killed me in that last time he appeared. This guy that was beating me to death with that fire thing he's got. It looks like the thing that was on the bull's head in Sekiro. Yeah, you can knock him out of his animation if you get there quick enough. Intense fight. There's so much going on, it's all happening very fast. And you're moving constantly to avoid being attacked. And since you don't know where the other guy is, you have to move just to avoid his surprise magic attacks. was terrible at dodging this guy. He was just hitting me every time. Those whiffs are gonna get me killed. Yeah, I should have used the Wandering White to headbutt him. Didn't. So definitely ways to be a little bit better in this fight. So he got me. Yeah, I just wasn't as locked in as I should have been. But lesson learned. So our takeaway is lock in. Try not to get hit a million times. I thought we used Pluck of Many to help do a little bit of damage. I don't care who they fight. Whether they fight this guy or the other guy. There's the Wandering White. Yeah, I don't care which one of them they fight. At least they're taking some of the damage. I don't use any of my gourd. Got a little damage on both of them, which is good. And did not whiff that one, which is also good. Still get hit by that freaking thing he's carrying around. I can't avoid being stunned like by the other guy. Got me that time. I want to do as much damage to this guy as I possibly can. Use Cloud Step to avoid being blinded by that flash attack. This idiot ran right into my heavy attack. Here's the other guy. I don't see him. Where are you? Yeah, this is one where I probably should have used the pillar stance a little bit more. Good God, he's just wrecking me with that darn thing. This guy. Gotcha, you annoying little bastard. Okay, now we can go after the other guy. I don't have any more heals left. It seems like I should be able to get on with as much as I can avoid being hit. Okay. Transformation should get me some damage. And with this transformation, Stone Monkey, I should be able to dodge, do a lot of the things that I can do as the Destined one. I'm really bad at the whole dodge thing for some reason when I'm fighting as Stone Monkey. but you can do a lot of damage if you can get if you can build up all of your focus points. You probably would be able to take him out in a couple of hits, but I wasn't able to do that. But at least I got his health down significantly, so if I could stay alive for the next couple of his little tantrums. Oh god. There we go. Wow, that was close. That was really close. So yeah, you can absorb their spirit as well. I never use it. And so at the end of the fight, you end up getting some resources back, which is good. But there's no one else to fight. I mean, you're gonna go right to a shrine. So now we're at Raksasa's palace. We've not yet met Rakshasa, but we will. And we may as well grab this item since it's right there. And this chest as well, since it's also right there. And the progression through this area is you'll be fighting quite a few of the bull guard enemies as you work your way around this whole arena. So this guy's not very smart, so I use the smash dance. So he's standing up, not the smash dance, the pillar stance. He's standing there looking at me. And you can just do that over and over and over again. He's not really going to attack you. He'll come towards you. But using this strategy, because there are quite a few of these guys, it would take you all day long. So while we'll use it on this guy, we're not going to use it on all of them. So he sort of fell off the little walkway, but we can still get him. And we could just go up those steps and work our way around, but there's some items down below and some enemies down below that we want to take out. So first time through this area, I try to clear out everything. If I should die, then I wouldn't try to fight all of these enemies again. But they're not that difficult, and they're spaced out pretty well. At least in this part of it. Part of the map, they're spaced out pretty well. There's some plants, and there's a chest. Don't think there's more than one chest in this big area. It's a fairly large area to traverse, but not a lot of enemies. And the enemies that you find aren't very tough. And by now, you will have fought a number of these bull guard guys. So, you sort of know what you're going to get. Their movesets don't change. There's some with shields and there's some without shields. The ones without shields are incredibly easy to kill. The ones with shields are a little bit more difficult. This one was guarding a chest. But I think this is the only chest in this arena. There's another item, but I think this might be the only actual chest. So we're gonna go back to get this wisp. So we continued going forward. So we want to take out these guys. They toss fire at you, these mage guys. And usually there's a bull guard near him. There's definitely one up front. And there is a friendly gourd NPC guy in here. So you would actually complete his quest at this point. You talk to him. You grab the item that's shiny in the little cask that's over to the left of him. To, I guess, his right, my left. And I'll let him talk first. That item you want to grab. And I already grabbed it, so I can't grab it again. And in the middle, you would go to this flame that we just ran past, and you would interact with it, and it would give you the Supreme Gourd, which is the one I'm currently using. It gives you, I believe, 10 sips, which is the most in the game. It's the best gourd in the game. You can change the soaks in the gourd, but it's the best gourd in the game. And you only get it by completing his quest. And obviously it's easy to run past that little building without, if you're not paying attention to your surroundings. So we want to make sure, again, first time through, take out everybody that we see. So we have another one of these bull guards and a mage guy. Yeah, very easy to sort of deal with. And there should be another pair over here. So at the beginning of this area, if we had walked up those steps, we would have ended up over here. Okay, so we're gonna work our way back and take out the giant Rakshasa bull guys. I don't know whether they'll both fight you if you get in between them, but it's smarter to fight them one at a time. They're not very difficult fights, and you can only focus on their feet, ankles. So if you just keep hitting their ankles, you can immobilize them, they'll fall pretty quickly. For as big as they are, sometimes they're in odd positions, which makes it difficult for you to get to the point that you're supposed to be hitting. But they're not difficult at all. It's funny, sometimes they make big enemies in the game and you think, oh my god, this is going to be difficult, and it turns out it's easy. Other times they make big enemies in a game and it turns out they're very difficult. So this one's not. And the other one sits sort of quietly over there. We saw a couple of very large enemies in Chapter 3 at the Thunderclap Temple. Those giant twin guys who were guarding the boss's area. And again, you hit their ankles, avoid getting stomped or hit, and actually have a lot of health. And these are a little different because at least those other ones, if they clap their hands in front of you, and they can actually really cause a lot of damage. I'm not sure what damage these guys actually do. I guess they can hit you or stomp you. So we got both those guys down. And now we can go back to, let's take this guy out first because he's just going to keep throwing things at me. And then we're going to take this very ambitious bull guard guy out who doesn't know where I am. Everybody hold this. difficult. And then we'll take this bull right out. Another ambitious guy. His partner over there was daydreaming, so we'll take him out because he's slacking on the job. And we will progress. Those guys, if they hadn't come forward, would have been right before the shrine. So I guess they heard the commotion and they sort of moved out of their normal position. And now we were already in the palace, but now we're at the Emerald Hall. We'll actually meet Rakshasa and her stepdaughter or adopted daughter and another character. We'll do that in the next video, second part of chapter 5. It's only going to be 2 parts because it's a short chapter. See you next time. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Take care. Talk to you guys soon.